Let's get this party started. All right, man. Sorry about that last interruption. I like, man. Let me get this cracking again. I don't like my groove. I had to handle some business. But anyway, if you just tuning in, man, I'm Boy Drew the Charm Guy. You tuned in to the Charm Hour. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, throw 50K in the chat. 50,000. Uh, we got a 50,000 sub campaign going on here at the channel right now. So 50K. That's a representative of the campaign we have here. We want 50,000 subscribers because we know that we're gonna have 50,000 people here joining in on this conversation to have uncomfortable, controversial conversations because that's what I do. I'm the king of uncomfortable, controversial conversations, and we talking politics right now. We talking Donald Trump and his all the moves he's been making, especially with immigration. I'm gonna just get into where I left off. Before I had to end my live. I'm gonna just go where I left off. Um, People don't know their history. You gotta understand why the 14th Amendment was even in creation. You have to understand why the 14th Amendment was even something that came into play. And you had the Civil War. Okay. Now, I want to say something, and I want to be very clear. I want to be very clear about something. You, African slaves were legally imported. African slaves were legally imported. It was not, they were not illegal immigrants. African slaves, black people, no matter, you have this argument of whether we're indigenous or not, whatever the case may be. The black people that were enslaved in this country, that was legal. That was ran through the United States government as a legal institution. You could import people. It's in the Constitution. It says that. This is why I keep saying that black people, you were talked about in the Constitution. That's number one. Okay. You got the 3/5 compromise, which I know that caused an issue because counting slaves as a part of the total population and have representatives in the legislative branch, as well as how they got taxed and things of that nature became an issue. So one of the things that would become a problem is freeing the slaves. They're getting all this free labor in the South. They got all this production. You know the story if you don't know the story. Okay? You know the story if you don't know the story. You need to go Google. You need to go get on Google and figure out exactly what happened before the Civil War. Now, Civil War happens. We know what that's primarily about. 13th Amendment comes. You got the Reconstruction. You got the Reconstruction Amendments. You got the 13th, 14th, 15th. 13th comes first. All right. By the way, if y'all just tapping in, hit the like button. Don't troll. Just hit the like button. Everybody can get. Everybody that's joining in right now. Before you make a silly ass comment, just hit the like button. No trolling. If you're a troll, I'm gonna get you up out of here. Hit the like button. Let's get the likes up. We talking politics. A lot of y'all are scared of this Trump's administration. A lot of y'all are scared about what he got going on. I'm not afraid, but I got to break down to you what's really happening and why I think he needs to get illegal immigration out of here. He needs to, any illegal immigrant got to go. But we got to understand what the 14th Amendment is about because I don't think a lot of people do. So y'all go ahead and hit that like button, hit the love button as well, too. Throw 50K in the chat. We got a 50K sub on the channel going right now. Hey, 13th, 14th, 15th Amendment, that's the Reconstruction amendments, okay? So, 13th Amendment abolishes slavery. We have to understand it abolishes slavery. Okay, once you do that, once you abolish slavery, the Dred Scott decision was saying that free or slaves, whether you free or a slave, that you could not be a citizen of the United States of America. Now you have slaves. Now imagine this: you got African slaves that were brought to the country, right? Transatlantic slave trade. It did not stop until 1808. So you got from 1619 to at least 1808. A couple hundred years of slaves coming here. There is no connection to Africa. That's why I think it's funny when people say we're African Americans. We are descendants of African slaves. We were brought here through the transatlantic slave trade, but we are not African Americans. We are Black Americans because for the most part, and I like to say Black Americans because of skin tone, But for the most part, being descendants of slaves, we're all mixed up at this point. Like, look at phenotypically, yes, we're black, but we don't really look exactly like our ancestors from Africa. We are a mixed group of black people. That's number one. Okay, we're a mixed group of black people. But anyways, they say we can never be citizens. Well, what you gonna do with us? Where you gonna take us back to? What country are we going? What country are we gonna go to when we've been here and we've been working the entire time? Dred Scott decision at the Supreme Court level says that we can't be citizens. So you got the 13th Amendment. They freed slaves. Now you got black codes saying what we can and can't do in these states. These states are basically saying, well, we don't have the right to be citizens because of this Dred Scott case. So what do they do with the 14th Amendment? The 14th Amendment addresses that right there. You have to look at this. You have to look at this as a group, okay? The 14th Amendment addresses that right there. It made all of the slaves, all of the freed people, I'll say that they were not slaves, but all of the ex-slaves, freed people, they became citizens of the United States of America. They became citizens of the United States of America. And you have to make sure they had protection as well as the right to vote. So black people really got the right to vote in the 15th Amendment. This is a fact. Black people got the right to vote in the 15th Amendment. So these three things are addressing uh black people exclusively. Now, when it comes down to immigration, the 14th Amendment was used. It's been used in immigration cases. It's the reason why they have birthright citizenship right now, but birthright citizenship was not intended for immigration. In fact, Congress is supposed to come up with the way to naturalize citizens. The 14th Amendment was misused. And it was Kim Ark. There's a case of Kim Ark where he goes to China. His parents are not from here, but he was born here. On his way returning here, they wouldn't let him in. Then he used that 14th Amendment. Well, I was born here. I'm a citizen. You know, there's no way that when they were creating these amendments, when they were creating these laws, that they would have ever foreseen immigration being what it is today. So it is clear that immigration hasn't really been dealt with in the Constitution. There's some laws around it. They have some mandates. They've been using the 14th Amendment, but the 14th Amendment exclusively was to address the issue of black slaves, of ex-slaves, and addressing their citizenship, addressing the 15th Amendment will come and address them as far as how they vote. Because we are in Reconstruction. This is very, very simple. I think Donald Trump has a great case with this. Is he going to be able to get this ratified? Is he going to be able to get some kind of rule talking about birthright citizenship? I don't really know, but I think he has a great case for it. We have to understand this too. It's not like he's going after people who are second, third generation Americans. He's not saying that. He's trying to change this because it's being misused. I definitely think illegal immigration is bad. I think we've had way too many people cross the border. I think there's all sorts of things coming across that border, and I think he has to get a grasp on this. He has to make a change on this. Period, point blank. It's unfortunate that there's a level of racism attached to it, but this is America. There was racism. We had to talk about race in the very beginning. And the main reason why we had to talk about race is because how black people were being mistreated. Y'all got to understand that. The root of all racism begins with the hatred towards the American slave, the American black slave. That is the root of it all because that's where it starts. That's where the struggle starts. That's where the fight begins, and all of the civil rights acts that came after was stemming from that. Now, here's the one problem that I do have. I think other minority groups come to the country and they pick up on some of this racist past. They pick up on some of these stereotypes and they begin to feel the same way about black people. And the very thing that they're able to come here and enjoy, the very thing that they're able to come here and take advantage of, the American black slave, the American black slave provided that for them. And we get called names. They come in our neighborhoods, open up stores. They don't pour back into our communities. And the very reason why they're here is because guess what? It is literally off the struggle of the black slave. Because before that, it was all white. It was a white ran thing. Look, I'm finna say something very controversial. I have a controversial channel though. That's what it is. There are three groups. There are three groups that are the real Americans. And I'm saying that in context of who founded, built, and the history for the most part is centered around. There's three real Americans: the Native American, the Indigenous American, the Anglo-Saxon, the Anglo-Saxon, those that came and started the colonies from Britain, right? And the American black slave. Those are your three original OG Americans. Those three right there don't have any attachment to any other place than this country right here. Everybody else that's coming here and becoming citizens and taking advantage of what we have do not have a real connection to this country. That's why I think nationalism is important. This is mentioned really in the Constitution as far as what it takes to be a citizen. Initially, it talks about this. How long you have to be here, pledging, pretty much we pledge allegiance to our Constitution. We pledge allegiance to our country. And you should denounce all others. You should be a citizen here. How do you come to this country and say you want to be a United States citizen and have so much love for the country that you came from? Why should you be considered a real citizen of this country? How do you not love this country? I hate anti-American rhetoric, and you get that a lot of times when you have people that come from other countries and that want to parlay here and make money here and be a part of our society and whatever the case may be, but they ain't got no real allegiance to our country. Why should we allow that here? Why should we not come up and say, hey, we want to have citizenship? Yeah, I believe in birthright citizenship in terms of who it belongs to, who should, we have black Americans, Anglo Saxons, Native Americans, generations and generations and generations of roots here. So why, you don't have no real connection to America? Your parents not from here, you just born here, you're an American citizen. But what's the culture that's being taught in your household? Do they really love our country? Do they really love America? Are they about what America's about? Because I've never been to, I went to other countries while I was in the United States Navy, but I don't have any, I don't want to go live nowhere else. I don't have no affinity for no other country like that. Not saying that I don't love people across the world and other places that are friendly that I could go to, but I'm from the United States of America. So this is where my allegiance at. I believe in waving that American flag. I got the state of Texas on my arm. I'm American through and through. I am a descendant of African slaves. So what's more American than that? So why can't we define that? Why can't we define what the real Americans are? Why can't we define who the real Americans are? Why can't we do that? I think it's very important that we do this. I think black people gotta relax. I think black people need to let the Latino community and all other communities talk about immigration. I don't think immigration is something that we need to be putting our nose in because I think they have to decide how they feel about it. If they're gonna be a part of the country and they know they have roots in another place, then they have to have allegiance to this country. I'm just being honest. If you're gonna be in the United States of America, you want to be a citizen here, you have to have an allegiance to this country and what we got going on. So you're gonna have to be, hey, you're gonna have to secure the borders. It can't be this whole, yeah, we finna come to the United States and then we finna just let our people in and do what we want to do. Like, nah, man, we can't have that. And that's not no hate on no different ethnic group. That's not no, I'm not hating, I'm not dissing, I'm not doing none of that at all because they're dark skinned people at that border too that can't get in, if we just being honest. So it's not even about race, it's not even about ethnicity. It's about, are you an American or not? And if you're an illegal, man, you got to get up out of here. I think that 14th Amendment has been misused. I think a lot of the civil rights acts move the civil rights movement has been totally hijacked and misused for the wrong shit. I'm sorry, it has. Like, there's no way you could tell me when we get into the fine history of the United States of America and how we get the Civil Rights Act, how does that give way to other movements because they're different from white? And so we're gonna say we're gonna group them together. I'm sorry, man. There's not another group. I don't care if you think you subjugated or not. There's not another group that can be linked with black people. It's just not another group. Like nobody fought. So basically, we wait all the way to the end. We wait all the way to 1965, and everybody gets it. Every other group, gender, sexual orientation, y'all get lumped in. Go get your own fight. Don't be a part of what we were a part. Like blackness and the fight for civil rights for black people was collective. That's every if you black woman, black man, black child, black gay, it don't matter. It's being a black person. Just being able to go somewhere and not and being able to be permitted into that public place, uh, no matter the color of your skin, was important to us. That's what we fought for. Being able to have equal access to jobs, work. Y'all have to understand something, and I don't really give a damn who cares. Like I don't care if somebody have critique on this. That was the black plight since arrival. Is how we were going to be treated. That was the black plight from the get go. You talking about from 1619, 1808, the transatlantic slave trade stops. Okay, allegedly. Y'all go ahead and hit that like button too when y'all come in. Hit them likes. Hey, y'all know why we hitting the like button? Because when you come in and watch, I'm sure somebody else want to come in and watch and be a part of the conversation. So y'all hit that like button for me. Go ahead and hit that like button because we want people involved. I'm going to tell you what's not happening right now. We are not having great conversations in politics. And I think it's time for other groups of people, mainly black people, to have a very good, wide conversation on politics. I don't think Trump's a racist, and I don't think he's doing anything that's gonna harm us even worse than what we've already been through. Worse than what we've already been through. Because guess what? We fought for these rights that we have. We fought for these rights that we have. We fought to be uh in this country, to have the rights that we have, to be able to vote. We fought for it. We're here. We're implanted. We're ingrained. We're cemented in that Constitution, and nobody can take it away from us. So when that man is mentioning the 14th Amendment and who is describing and who is talking about, I'm very happy about that. I think that we need to pay attention, and I think we need to accept that, hey, we are real Americans. We need to fight for our own equity and what that looks like. I don't think we need to be attaching our movements to other movements. I just think that's very dangerous. I don't think, and that has a lot to do with us letting other leaders take advantage of us and pimp out our civil rights movement. Like I'm seeing black people. Listen, man, I know you can have empathy, sympathy, or whatever the case may be. I'm seeing people, oh, ICE is gonna be over here. ICE, why do you care about that? Why do you care about where ICE is gonna be? Do y'all know what ICE is doing? ICE is getting illegal. First, they're targeting people that are known to be criminals, that are known to have issues. Now, how they had this information, I don't know. They be knowing stuff all the time. They know. I've always said that they know who's coming in and who's coming out. They know who's coming in, who's coming out. And then you got sold that bull crap about they needed a bill to be able to handle the borders, but the Republicans didn't sign off on it, blah, 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 whatever the case may be. You see Donald Trump down there handling it, huh? You see he down there getting them out of here. So that's all bull crap to me at the end of the day. It's elite. You cannot have a society like what we have right now and just have illegal immigration going everywhere. You can't just have people in and out of the country like this. But again, as much as the Republicans want to point that finger over there, I think they're equally responsible. People with money, the rich at the top, are responsible because they wanted this cheap labor. They wanted to find America got rich off free labor. So why wouldn't they try to find a way to get cheap labor? And that's what they did. And it just turned, and I feel personally it turned on them. And I'm gonna just be real. Here's my real opinion about that. This is my real, like, black man's ideology of what I think happened is at the end of the day, you let the immigrants in that you thought would replace black labor. You made it cheap. Those people came in and took advantage of the rights and struggles we had, and they turned themselves up. They going to school. When you think about, I talked about this on my show. I talked about DEI, and I was saying that at the University of Texas, right? Um, there was a lot of affirmative action fight over there. In fact, one of the cases began with a lady, I forgot her name, who was saying she didn't get admitted into the school, because of affirmative action. And here's the thing: when you look at the demographics of Texas, the University of Texas, I think it's more Latino there than white. So you got Latino, small population of white. Of course, you got a high, pretty decent percentage of Asian, and the least percentage of another group there is black people. Hit the like button when y'all come in too. Hit that like button because we want YouTube to recommend this channel. It's not made for kids. I think the nature of the conversation, it ain't just gonna go out. So just hit the like button when y'all come in. But that's what the case is. So affirmative action, DEI has really changed the demographics of a lot of these institutions that are PWI. Why wouldn't they care about changing the immigration law? When you look at even Roe v. Wade, first off, let me say this, and then I hate going to Roe v. Wade, but Roe v. Wade is like one of the biggest things that we go to when we talk about what the Supreme Court has overturned recently, right? Roe v. Wade was using the 14th Amendment. It was literally hanging on to the 14th Amendment by a hair, okay? To say that it was constitutional, that's not constitutional. It had previously been federally banned because it's not constitutional. So there's so many other groups that have come. White women ain't having babies like that, so they have to turn that over. They're having a population and a displacement issue. You've never seen a situation where white people have gotten fired for using racial slurs, and they are as of recently. The white man has to be reminded over and over and over and over again how racist they are. You don't think they tired of that? I think that's the issue with a lot of these DEI programs too. Now I'm gonna say this when it comes down to Elon Musk. I have a problem with Elon Musk. Like, what political experience do you have to even be up here trying to gut anything? Just because he's rich? So, because he's rich, we feel like he knows exactly how to run a government. We feel like he knows what doesn't need to be, um, you know, what's efficient and not efficient just because he's rich. I think that's BS. And I do think that's something we do need to be concerned about again when we're talking about money. You got the richest man in the world being that involved in politics. Now that I have an issue with. I'm not just some person that's gonna be up here talking, oh, I just love everything Trump does. I voted for him. I do like what he does. I do like a lot of the things that he does, but at the same time, I have some issues. I have some big questions about some of the moves he's pulling. Again, Elon, I'm not a real big fan of Elon. So wait a minute, we talking about being American, being proud to be an American. That dude from South Africa, how much of an allegiance does he have outside of being able to make money, come here and make money and take advantage of the system? So I'm not a big Elon fan. I don't like him being able to say what he think is efficient and what ain't efficient and blah blah blah. He don't know what the hell he talking about. First off, I don't think Elon Musk is smart. I think Elon Musk, when we talk about, okay, when we talk about whiteness, when we talk about white privilege, I want to explain what people really mean when they say white privilege. What people mean by white privilege is white people can say and do things without us questioning it to the T. They can do things without having a terrible perception to it. We'll give them, Elon Musk up there moving his eyes and all that bullshit. Oh, he's autistic. We just gonna say the man autistic. That's what we think. We think the man is autistic. He up there throwing up, you know what I'm saying? Which I don't think it was. I don't think he was throwing up a Nazi salute. But we give him all kind of excuses. I just think he's rich. I don't think he's autistic. I don't think he's a genius either. He hasn't even been formally tested for that. That's what I think most people mean by white privilege. You can be white, you can say certain things, have certain things, and people will kind of believe that for the most part it's true. That's really what they mean. I don't think they mean in terms of always getting some granted access the way it used to mean. It used to mean that. But for the most part, look at Elon Musk. Look at Donald Trump, just being real. Yeah, I support Donald Trump, but I mean, you going through that much litigation in the federal government, you're able to still be running for president, you're able to be a president. That's really what people be talking about when we say white privilege. That's what we're talking about. It's the ability. Hey, do we really think that Obama could have had that much litigation? I'm not a fan of Obama. I'm not a fan. I can be pro black, talk about black issues. I could talk about the issues that black people have and still look at politics in an unbiased manner. I can still say, okay, I see what black people need. I see what we need to be doing as black people, right? And then I can look at somebody like Obama and be like, but I don't like his politics. I don't like what it meant for us. And still defend him. That I'm just a middle of the road person because I'm gonna stand for what's right and I'm gonna tell the truth. But let's look at Obama. Do we really think that Obama at any point could have caught that much flack? That he could have caught that much heat, right? That he could have caught that much heat and been able to run for president? I don't think so. They was talking about if he was from America or not. They was bringing that up. Is he really American? Is he an American citizen? That was an issue. That was a big deal. So I don't think that Obama could have done or had the same leeway. I also don't like the fact that Obama's being attached. Obama's being blamed for DEI. Obama's being blamed for all the diversity, equity, inclusion. He's starting to hold the weight of that. I don't blame him for that. I don't blame him for that. I think he was a vehicle. He was a vehicle to expand it for sure. But I don't blame him for that. I think it had been an issue from its inception. I think the civil rights movement was hijacked back in the 60s. Because I think this whole idea that we're not going to give just black people anything, we're going to give it to, I think the hatred towards black people was so strong that they were willing to pimp out our rights to other people that they felt like were more civilized than us. I mean, you see it. And now it's just really biting the country in the ass, if you want to be honest. That's what it is. I mean, you can see it, though. That's exactly what happened. Because a lot of the expansion on civil rights happened in the 60s when you included white women, when you include gender and all that alternative, we just gonna call that, okay, if you're brown, people of color. What the hell is people? What is people of color? What is people of color? What does that mean? See, that's a way to group us and say, hey, everybody should get the rights that the black slaves fought for. No. And I've always said this on my show, that white America should have really addressed the black issue, because the only other ethnic group that has an allegiance and alliance with you would be slaves. The freed slave. That's who has the alliance. No other, there is not another group that is programmed to be aligned with American white society like the free black slave. Your hatred for the free black slave is so strong, you can't see that. You done sold the country away so much for free labor. It was sending all them jobs across overseas and all that crap. Now you're trying to backtrack and get it fixed, and now you want to mention. I've never heard, I'm going to say this again. I've never heard a white man president get on stage and say that the 14th Amendment was addressing black folk. I ain't never heard that. You hearing that now for the first time. You know why you hearing that? Because he's trying to backtrack what he did with immigration policy over the last damn 30 years. Over the last 30 years, he's trying to correct that. He's trying to correct what he's done over the last 30 years, which is let everybody else in, let everybody else take advantage of what was meant for black folk, And I know people don't, well, why was it just meant for black folk? What you mean? What you mean? Why? You, as an immigrant from another country, you get to be here because somebody black died for that. What do you mean by that? Slavery. Where the 14th Amendment come from? Reconstruction. We fighting over a Reconstruction Amendment. They are using a Reconstruction Amendment. The Asian community has come into the black community, put all these hair stores in, all these has sucked us dry, will beat up our women when they're not paying in their nail salon. They should be paying anyway. I'm just being honest. But we'll beat up on our people, call our people all kind of names, and you are able to be here because of the 14th Amendment. You know, you got this guy, man. I think Sanji and Jetty or whatever. I forget his name. I be messing up dude's name. Talking about how the Civil Rights Act, he believes how it was un-American. How you gonna say that? You're an American because of what you saying is un-American. What other law, what else is going to guarantee an immigrant birthright citizenship away from the 14th Amendment? What other law? There's none. There is no other law. The 14th Amendment did that. Black folk fought on both sides of the field. Both sides of the field. Y'all tell me what y'all think about that.